Hello gamers, welcome back to Wuthering Waves. So originally I didn't get Yinlin. If you saw the last video, it was
I'm nowhere
very
How many
it took 20 additional pulls to finally get Yinlin.
Please, I will suck a dick if I get her. Thank God.
And of course, when I wasn't recording, now I get her. So you know what that means. Today we're now going to be looking at her kit, how to play her, how to build her, whatnot. How do you make her great? Make Yinlin great again.
Actually, she was always great.
And thankfully, I just learned this not too long ago. You can actually go down here and go through a little tutorial to try out the character that you own. And not a character you don't own. I wish they had that feature. But instead of just talking about her skills, let's just actually show you what she can do. So of course, she can do up to 4 basic attacks like so, which is pretty nice. When you use her skill, it can actually be used twice. So you use it once, it does that, and then you press it again, it does all of that fun shenanigans like a bunch of hentai tentacles. Of course, she can slam the ground with her leg. That should be me. Why is it not me? When you bring up the forte gauge at the bottom, the little bar down there, and you hold your left click, you do a bunch of these cool things, and you may notice this is going to be important. You can see that thing that's on the enemy, some triangle triforce thing, and when they're inflicted with that, if you attack them, it actually does a bunch of like extra damage, kind of like a dot. Over time, like every second it activates. And last but not least, we have her little ultimate, which looks hot itself. Goddamn, this is why I wanted her. A couple of extra things that you should know about her is that when you use her skill, you can actually attack up to your basic attack 4 times and then use your skill again to do a little combo, which is pretty nice when you're using her. Now, something important that you should know is that when you attack the enemy, you could see where'd the little buddy go. Oh, he's right here. You could see that there's like it's kind of connecting to a bunch of the stuff. But if you don't have that on the enemy and you use this, oh, actually I ended up hitting it. It wouldn't inflict the little triforce thing here. If you want to be technical, it's called the punishment mark. And basically, if they have that punishment mark, if you remember that little like damage over time thing, you wouldn't be able to do that with all the other enemies that's inflicted with it. And inflicting that, it's pretty simple. You do basic attack. You can see like now there's a bunch like a thing on its chest. You can also see your little buddy down there kind of connecting to it, but it's mostly that little indication. You can just do your basic attack when you're attacking your enemies to inflict it. I believe if you use your ultimate, it can also inflict that little sinister punishment mark thing, as you can see right there. It also says when you use your intro skill, you can also inflict that little sinner mark. And you put them in punishment when you fill up that little forte gauge at the bottom and you hold that left click, and that's when they'll get that little punishment mark, and then you deal all that extra damage. Now, as you may have seen, a lot of people call her Sub DPS because of that executioner punishment mark thing, mostly because of that. And also she can like build up her little forte pretty fast too, which is pretty nice. You do all that fun stuff, maybe even inflict your ultimate, and then you switch out to your other character. And as your other characters are attacking, as long as they have that little punishment mark, they will always be taking damage. Every single one of them that's inflicted with the punishment center thing. But what also makes her great is because of her outro skill, which basically when you switch and use her outro skill, right, you will improve the electro damage amplified by 20%. I'm messing up my words. I don't know why I said it like that. But your electro damage for the next person is increased by 20%, as well as the resonance liberation damage amplified or increased by 25%. That's why a lot of people, when you think about Yinlin, right now you think of a combination of Kalcharo, aka Sephiroth at home, Yinlin, and Verena. Now that we talked about her skills, so what exactly should you be focusing on when you build? I just got her, so I'm still building her, but I do think you should be focusing on her forte circuit, which is where you inflict that sinister mark punishment, that constant lightning damage going on the enemy. You should be focusing on that first, and then her resonance liberation, aka her little ultimate, and then her little skill, and then her basic attack and whatnot. A lot of people really like Yinlin just because of that little punishment mark where you're putting all that lightning going on, as well as her little outro skill that amplifies the damage of the next character, most notably the electric units or the resonance liberation damage units. But speaking of that, what type of team should you use and what can you use if you're using Yinlin? Goddamn Tauki, I got her again. She's one away from being maxed out. So anyways, as you may have seen, I had a team of Kalcharo, Yinlin, and Verena. Verena, of course, always being the supporter with healing and her buffs, while Yinlin is also buffing and doing that sub DPS with the lightning lightning, and then you bring up Kalcharo, or when you use his Resonance Liberation and he has that little cool form and he starts attacking a lot, it's just gonna deal a lot of damage along with Yinlin's little lightning thing, and you just deal a lot of damage, which is why a lot of people like this team. This is like the dream team even before the game came out. But unfortunately, with this game, there's not too many electric, or at least good electric units yet. You may be thinking Yanwu, but this dude in another tier list I saw, he's at the bottom of the barrel. A lot of people don't really like him. I tried him out and he is not that great. But if you play through the story and you're free to play, you could actually use the Havoc MC, which you unlock after Act 6, I believe. You could actually use him or her, if whoever you have. Rover over here actually does deal some pretty nice damage with his Resonance Liberation. So if you're gonna make him like your main DPS, while Yinlin is your sub DPS, then you know he's a pretty solid option. Someone else that you can use if you wanted to, you can actually use Encore as well if you have Encore, or maybe you're waiting for Chang Li whenever she may come out. There's some leak stuff, but we're not talking about that. Kind of like Kalchar, when you use her Resonance Liberation, she goes on that little berserk form type of thing where you're just dealing a lot of damage. The only reason she's better with Kalcharo is because Kalcharo is also electric, and if you remember with Yinlin, her outro also works with Electro. Looking around, if you actually look up Verina's stuff, a lot of people call her a sub DPS, but you have to remember that she's also a DPS. It's also in the name, sub DPS. So she doesn't necessarily have to be a sub DPS if you don't want her to. If you want her to be the main, who's stopping you, right? Who's telling you no? Some other random tier list. So I mean, there's like different ways you can go, right? I mean, you can use Sanhua for the basic attack if you want to try to make her like a basic attack type player, but she actually just deals a lot more damage with her Resonance Liberation. But I mean, if you are like gonna try to use her like as your main DPS as well as doing all that extra lightning damage, then Sanhua could be pretty useful as your sub DPS to go along with Yinlin. Yeah, Yinlin, and of course Verina always just being there as the best supporter in this game. But if you have Jianchin, this lady, if you have her, she's also very nice to have because she's also pretty nice. She can heal, and I believe she also puts up like a shield or something, so she's pretty nice to have alongside as well. But of course, as the free to play option for a supporter, it would have to be Baiji. They gave a lot of free stuff, so I'd be very surprised if you don't have Arena at this point. And now you have Echoes. I don't have the best Echoes. I'm still grinding the game. I'm still playing. I'm out of the loop a little bit. If you do plan to use her as a sub DPS, I think the best Echo that you should go for is this Impermanence Heron, because it can also put up increased attack of the next Resonator. So of course, as her being a sub DPS, this would be pretty nice for her to have, as well as like increase the character's damage dealt, which is pretty nice. And the bird flies and you do some sort of swap cancel, however that works. Of course, you just want to get the full kit. You want to try and get crit rate and crit damage on your main Echo right here, and of course you want to get more electric damage like so, and more attack and electro, whatever you can get those. But if you do plan to make her a main DPS, then I believe it is actually pretty recommended to try and use like the Thundering Memphis as your main Echo, as well as, you know, crit rate, crit damage, and more electro stuff, just so you can build up that electro damage. And you know, using your resonance skill, electro damage increases. It just works out for her pretty well. Now, as for her weapon, of course, if you do get a character at this point, you do want to try and get their weapon. In case you don't know, in this game, if you do get the weapon and you pull for its banner, you are guaranteed the weapon. So you will always get the weapon that you want, which is really nice about this game. So if you do get a character, you should go for the weapon. But I'm broken poor because of this dang dude. So another option that I saw that I had going around, I had this Jinzo Keeper. It really just helps with her attack and dealing more damage, and you know, it brings up HP. It's pretty alright, but obviously there's better ones like her signature weapon. And of course, if you didn't know, you actually do get a guaranteed 5-star weapon if you reach adventure rank 45. Can I click to see what's in here? No, I cannot. But I can go in here and click over here. So what you do want to get is you could also go for, I think it's the Cosmic Ripples. Pretty nice, increases energy regen and then basic damage increasing. So it's pretty nice for her to have as well if you have that option. But of course, the most important thing about Yinlin is just bringing up her forte, because you want to get all that center stuff like so, and then switch out to your main DPS to just deal even more damage. Mostly, you know, resonance operation like that, and then her the electro damage. I mean, Mike, like, I barely have him built. He's like decent, he's actually built actually, but the fact how he's still dealing some nice damage. Oh, I'm pretty sure the Yin thing's gone. That's just because of Yinlin. Yinlin is just great overall, and I haven't even used Verena yet, so even more buffs just to deal even more damage. It's just a fantastic time for everyone and their mothers. I'm just going off a website here, but I believe the fastest way to bring up the little forte to do your heavy attack and whatnot is just to use her skill right away, and then it says some sort of cancel. I have no idea. But it also says to okay, buddy. Can we relax? I guess we can't relax. Let's try that again without dying. Do that first, and then 2 heavy attacks, and then it should. Oh wow, it really did fill it up. Look, we're already done. And then of course just use your whoever you got, right? Encore, Havoc, MC, Sephiroth at home. Just do. Can we stop? But overall, I really do think Yinlin's a pretty nice character to have, as well as just she's just hot in general. So, let me know if you think you should pull on her or not. I think she's a pretty nice character to have, but of course, there will always be better characters in the future, especially whoever you're maining. I tried talking while fighting. That's a bad idea. I can't do that. My mind does not want me to do that. But I think she's fun. She has great gameplay. She has nice physics, and she can obviously attack with her legs. Even better. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys enjoy, like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. But I'll see you guys all again in the very next video. Goodbye.